what does it mean to stand up and speak your mind about what you believe in? What does it mean to be a warrior with your words? But what you believe in, I know what it means. Oh, tell me, do you know what it means? I said I know what it means. What does it mean to give your life for a cause that you believe in? They knew what it means. Oh, David Chain knew what it means. Yeah, Judi Bari, she knew what it means. I said they knew what it means. Thank you, David Gypsy Chain.
Thank you. I'm going to do something attorneys don't normally do. I'm going to ask everyone to be quiet, including me, for a minute, and just think about what's happened in a moment for David, Nathan, and to reflect about where we go from here. I'm sure that David's family would be very warmed today to know that you're here. Today they're doing probably the hardest thing they ever had to do in their lives. They're burying their son. And they have asked me to look into the facts surrounding the death of David. And I can tell you this right now, that the investigation we are doing is an independent investigation. And as far as I can tell, it's the only independent investigation going on. We have written letters to all the authorities that be, but the authorities that we are most concerned with are not the Sheriff's Department, and not the Attorney General's Department, not the FBI, the CIA, whatever other initials you want. It's MAXAM. This death is directly at the footsteps of Charles Hurwitz. Yeah. It's the result of unbridled greed. He came into this county around 13 years ago and stole the corporation by breaking the law. He said it wasn't running business right, it wasn't making enough profit, so he took it for less than what it was worth. He ripped off the stockholders, he ripped off the pensioners, he ripped off the workers, and they don't even know it yet. Then he continued to do his business here with unbridled greed. He said, hey, what the hell, I kill a few birds, kill a few fish, knock down some trees, and what do I do with my profit? I leverage it out and buy Kaiser aluminum, so I can go around the rest of the world and rape the planet there. Charles Hurwitz is a planet raper. He needs to be brought to justice. It's about time we strip away the agencies he's always putting in front of him to say they're responsible. Go after CDF, go after the Forest Service, go after the regulators, but don't go after me. It's not going to happen anymore. He's ruined the watersheds here. He's ruined the watershed at Elk River. People live there. They're property owners. He doesn't care about their property rights. Then he cut the trees on a slope that was incredibly steep at Stafford. And everyone knew what was going to happen. It happened. A landslide came down. That's a deadly weapon. It was just lucky that no one got killed there. Then he's ruining the watershed at Freshwater and every other watershed around here where people live. He's ruining that. These are property owners. His mantra is property rights. We're going to shove it down the throat. Yeah. Charles Hurwitz thinks he's a very religious man, and this is a time of year for my people and his people, the Jewish people, to try to atone for their sins. It's called Yom Kippur. It's the New Year's. It's the holiday period. He really believes that what he's doing is the work of God being on his side, and he needs to know that he needs to atone for his sins, and they are many. And this is the time for him to do it. But even if he does atone, that's not enough. He needs to face justice in the court. We will be going out tomorrow to the site and do our own investigation. Pacific Lumber has kindly agreed to do that in the face of a lawsuit and injunction. When we have our results, they will have to be kept confidential until the court process unveils. I hope everyone understands the need to let them know that we are serious about this, that we will hold our information close to our chest until it's time to reveal it, because it's important that he doesn't know how much we know.
It's by the witnesses to come and read excerpts from the videotape, the audio from the videotape that took place less than an hour before the tree was fallen on David Gypsy Kane. I know this is a painful time for everyone, but it's also a crucial time because there are many lies being propagated by the Pacific Lumber Company, the Maxam Corporation, and the Humboldt County Sheriff's Department. So I'm asking for forgiveness from everyone if some of the language that I'm going to speak that was spoken by the logger offends you. But it has to be said. These are excerpts from the videotape that was taken less than 1 hour before that tree was fallen on. This is one of the activists, our brother Eric. We don't want to cause you any problems. Very angrily, the logger responds, "You already have! So get out of here! You cocksuckers! I mean it!" Assertively, activist responds, "When CDF comes out here, they'll tell you to stop." Angrily, logger responds, "When the motherfucker shows up and tells me to stop, I'll stop!" Calmly, Air and the other activists assure the logger, "Well, we should give him a chance to show up." Threateningly, menacingly, the logger responds, "Get out of here! Otherwise," we couldn't make this all out, "otherwise, I'll make sure I got a tree coming this way." Gently, the activists respond, "All right, well, let's not talk about that. We know we're not gonna," and it goes out. And the logger again responds, "Cocksuckers!" Raging, he says, "Oh, fuck! I wish I had my fucking pistol! I guess I'm gonna have to just start packing that motherfucker in here, because I can only be so nice so fucking long. Get my saw, I'm gonna start falling into this fucking draw." These are the words from the videotape, less than an hour before. And I apologize and how disturbing that is. But when we transcribed this, we were all in tears because it's the truth. It's the truth. I want to read a quote from the paper this morning, the Times Standard. This is John Campbell responding. "It is my hope that after a day of careful reflection on Thursday, we will all finally be ready to give up the past so that we can begin working together for the future of the North Coast. That's not a crock of shit. I don't know what is. Can we believe their lies when they say very openly to the media that the loggers did not know our brave, non-violent activists were in the woods, calling them to stop the destruction of the last remaining redwoods? Can we believe that? No! Not for a minute. Can we believe the lies when they say that the loggers had a call and response now, backpedaling on the truth that we're releasing? Backpedaling, saying that the loggers were calling out to these activists and saying that here comes the tree's coming, get out of the way. And our people saying, okay. Can we believe that bullshit? No! It's on the tape. The tape doesn't lie. And can we believe it when they say it was a domino effect, where one tree struck another, and oh, it's a great tragedy, an accident indeed, that this young man was killed. Can we believe that bullshit? No! Not for a minute. So last but not least was David Gypsy Kane. Kane, I'm sorry. Was he just an accident? Was he just an accident? No! Murder! The logical response to this is a full and thorough investigation. We haven't seen proof of that from the Humboldt County Sheriff's Department. We certainly aren't seeing any cooperation from the Pacific Lumber Company, Maxam Corporation, or the man responsible for all of this destruction in our town and in our land, Charles Hurwitz. The only thing guarding the crime scene and protecting the ancient forests of the Grizzly Creek watershed right now are people like you and me. On Friday morning, one day, the next day, after they killed our brother, and they assured the media and they assured the authorities that they would close the area for investigation of the crime scene, that there would not be logging operations. Well, I was there at 5:30 in the morning. I was there at 4 in the morning. But at 5:30 in the morning, guess what happens? The whole logging circus shows up. No sheriffs, no nothing. They intended to log that day, and the only thing stopping them was us! I can't tell you how important it is right now for us as a community to come together and stand and defend those trees, defend that forest, and keep that crime scene clean. I can tell you with assurance, there's over 50 people there right now, and they are bound with the spirit, David Gypsy chain in their hearts and souls to protect that crime scene and protect those ancient forests. There are many positions on that road that are blockaded right now, and what we need is more people. More than ever, we need more people to come out, and if you can't come out, please put pressure on the Sheriff's Department, on the Pacific Lumber Company, the Maxam Corporation. Call for accountability and call for the California Department of Forestry to revoke Pacific Lumber's charter, their timber operator's license. I have a very brief list of appeals. People are looking for tarps and ropes right now at base camp. We need batteries and flashlights. Baked goods are very highly appreciated. It keeps morale high. We need more people. They're asking for people to come up and relieve them so they can take a break. It's been long and hard out there. And I'm going to ask people to drop tools off to help do the work that I can't say is being done up there that's keeping them out. It's for the spirit of David Gypsy Chain and our last remaining ancient forests. Can I hear a round of no compromise? Earth first! No
I think it's really important that everybody remember that $500 million are at stake right now. Charles Hurwitz is on the verge of receiving $500 million for a very small portion of land. He's getting approximately $75,000 an acre for land, half of which is clear cut. All of you homeowners in Humboldt County should be so lucky to get that for your land. But he won't get that money until he has an approved habitat conservation plan. Now, you can't get a habitat conservation plan if you've committed a crime on the land you're applying for the permit. If the Pacific Lumber Company is convicted of involuntary manslaughter of David Chain, if they're convicted of violating the Endangered Species Act on that land while in the commission of involuntary manslaughter, they can be turned down for their habitat conservation plan and lose their $500 million. Now, I don't know about you, but I have a hunch, just a hunch, that Sheriff Lewis and District Attorney Terry Farmer don't have the spinal cord or the desire to take $500 million away from Charles Hurwitz. So that's why Earth First is out there with its own restraining order on the logging, and that's why we want you to join us, because it's the common law that must rule out there, since the law that's supposedly propagated in this building is completely inept or worse, complicit in the crime that is taking place out there. This goes all the way to the doorstep of Charles Hurwitz. And I want to read to you a little excerpt from Timber Wars by Judi Bari. She's writing about an experience that George Shook and myself were involved in 1989 and 1990 when we were sued by the Pacific Lumber Company for sitting in one of their trees for 5 days. It's back in the days when 5 days was how long you sat into a tree, as opposed to 5 years or however long it is now. And what you're about to hear is from an excerpt called the Palco Papers, because when Pacific Lumber sued us, we get to discover any documents they have. As Mark Harris said a long time ago, we're going to subpoena every document that has the word tree in it. And so we did, and this is what we got. But here's the opening paragraph from Judi. I want to just invoke her words. March 27th, 1991. Corporate millionaires are a vindictive lot. Take Charles Hurwitz, for example. When he's not busy raiding other companies, slaughtering ancient redwoods, or stealing the workers' pension plan, Hurwitz amuses himself by suing impoverished Earth Firsters. Thus it came to be that Pacific Lumber, also known as Palco, is suing Earth First activists Darryl Cherney and George Shook for $25,000 for the crime of sitting in a redwood tree. Since they needed to prove Earth Firsters can't get a fair trial in Fortuna, lawyer Mark Harris used the right of discovery to request all documents Pacific Lumber may have relating to Cherney or Earth First. The stuff he got back, mostly internal company memos sent from Public Relations Director David Galitz to Palco President John Campbell and CC'd to Charles Hurwitz, shows a sneering, bully mentality, and it shows Pacific Lumber's complicity, at least in the role of official cheerleader in the violence we are subjected to. The first memo is dated June 21st, 1989, shortly after Earth First organizer Greg King was punched and knocked to the ground by an irate logger at a nonviolent demonstration in Calpella. Galitz sends this memo, along with a clipping from the Press Democrat, to Charles Hurwitz, John Campbell, and others in Maxam and Palco management. It reads, subject, Earth First. Enclosed is an article on Cherney and King's latest stunt. As soon as we find the home of the fine fellow who decked Greg King, he has a dinner invitation at the Galitz residence. So Pacific Lumber is inviting the loggers who do us violence to dinner as a reward for doing violence against us. The next memo we have is dated April 18th, 1990, right around the time the timber companies began circulating false press releases claiming to be from unnamed Earth Firsters, saying we were intending to use violence against loggers. Galitz writes to John Campbell, enclosed is a Press Democrat article on environmentalists' internal split over Mississippi summer. Enclosed is a flyer with an Earth First logo. However, as Darryl's name is misspelled, we are not sure who put it out. Now you got to remember that Pacific Lumber Company was distributing that memo as an actual Earth First document to the media, while internally they were acknowledging that they had no idea who put it out and that it was probably a fake. Once again, encouraging the violence against activists. On April 23rd, Galitz sent another memo to John Campbell, this time chuckling over the death threats that I, Judi Bari, was receiving. Subject, Earth First. How attitudes can change. When Earth First put out the wanted poster on Charles, one for $1,000 and later for $5,000 reward, it was okay. Now Ms. Bari is upset. She apparently has her own wanted flyer. Now you got to remember the wanted flyer we were putting out and still put out asked for information, legitimate information leading to the arrest and conviction and incarceration of Charles Hurwitz for corporate crimes. The flyers Judi Bari was receiving were death threats that were ultimately acted upon. These are not comparable. But I do want to say this, that we still have that reward poster for Charles Hurwitz, only now the amount is $50,000, leading to the arrest, conviction, and incarceration for Charles Hurwitz. And you can find the information, your Jail Hurwitz starter kit, on the World Wide Web at www.jailhurwitz.com. Now here's another memo. This was sent, once again, from David Galitz to Kevin, who is Kevin Eckery of the Timber Association of California, and to Shep Tucker of Louisiana Pacific with the following cover letter. Dear Kevin, our Southern California salespeople were kind enough to send the enclosed. It is so good we had to share it. I may join, if only to enjoy the writing style. Sincerely, Dave Galitz, Public Relations Affairs Manager, Pacific Lumber. And here's the memo that Pacific Lumber enjoyed the style of so much. It's from a group called the Sahara Club in Southern California. Special Sahara Clubbers Division. The Sahara Club needs about a dozen volunteers to form a special division. The Sahara Clubbers. All volunteers should weigh at least 200 pounds and have a bad attitude. Big, tall, ugly desert riders preferred. We want to set up a few trucks with Sahara Club stickers in certain spots and see who might be tempted to break the law. Naturally, clubbers will be expected to honor all laws, but if some Earth First scum resist a citizen's arrest in the process, it may be necessary to subdue them prior to turning them over to the authorities. Sounds familiar, huh? If interested, contact us by mail. All names will be carefully checked via the off-road grapevine. Clubbers will be issued personalized walking sticks about the size of baseball bats. So these are the memoranda that are being circulated, that were being circulated by the Pacific Lumber circa 1990. We will turn these documents over to the attorneys working on the current case here regarding Gypsy David Chain. Apparently, it is the official policy of the Maxam Pacific Lumber Corporation to foster violence. It is a long tradition that they have. So I'd like to sing you this brief a cappella song. It's in the tune of an old miner song. Come all of ye good people, and hear this tale I'll tell of how the timber barons would turn our land to hell. Which side are you on? Which side are you on? I want to know now. Which side are you on? Which side are you on? They say in Humboldt County there is no neutral stand. You either love your Mother Earth or you're killing for Maxam. Which side are you on? Which side are you on? I want to know now. Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Don't slay for Charlie Hurwitz. Don't listen to the rapist's lies. But the wilderness ain't got a chance unless we mobilize. Hey, which side are you on? Which side are you on? I want to hear it. Which side are you on? Which side are you on? I want to just echo what Orca said. It's really important we have people out there that are throwing stuff at us every day. Paintballs the night before, eggs last night. I'm really afraid that the response in this county is going to be to possibly kill another person. If in response to this first death, I am very, very serious about that. There's safety in numbers. Please, please join us at Grizzly Creek. It's such an incredibly beautiful, wonderful sight with some of the most amazing human beings walking the planet. Hope to see you there 17 miles east on Highway 36. Thank you.
Thanks, Timothy. All right, Spring and Tofu as to why the Humboldt County Sheriff's Department is not unbiased and cannot be trusted to do an investigation of violence against Earth Firsters.
I remember the first time I saw Gypsy, and I remember the last time I saw him, which was at Action Camp just over a week ago, and I hugged him and said, "Keep up the good work." And then that's the last time I saw him. And he did that. And he is doing that, and his remembrance in our hearts will keep doing that. We came up here, Noel and I, to talk to you about the pepper spray lawsuit because, make no mistake, the Sheriff's Department, the Humboldt County Sheriff's Department, is a biased agency. And they are working for Charles Hurwitz. Backwoods, when we're sitting in trees, when we're locked to the bulldozers, when we're just talking to each other, we say the Hurwitz County Sheriff, because that's what's going on here. When I talk to people who live, across the country or in different bioregions, they tell me that we are living in the deep north. It's very true. We're deeply endowed with these forests, but we are deeply twisted up with a corporation that is being run by pure greed, and that's the bottom line here. A lot of us can share stories around the campfire of being abused and disrespected and demeaned by law enforcement and PL, yucking it up together, joking, making fun. And people should not be persecuted for their beliefs. People should not be tortured for their beliefs. I can tell you when I was locked down in Scotia, in the lobby, Carl Anderson, the head of PL Security, a man who had just a month before assaulted me and my friends at a blockade, which was not investigated by the Sheriff's Department despite complaints being filed. He comes into the office with his buddies, the Humboldt County Sheriff officers, and says to my friend and to all of us, "You've got an education coming." Okay, he said this to a teacher who was locked down with us. Did he know what was going to happen that day? I think he did know that they were going to use pepper spray. I think he did know that because deputies that are friends of his that used to work for PL, including Sheriff Lewis himself, probably told him that they were going to use pepper spray and probably were glad about it. After they used this toxic chemical agent on us, while joking and letting PL workers being part of this and watching what was going on, Carl Anderson helped carry my stretcher with other deputies out of the building. In trial last month in San Francisco, from the stand, Deputy Kirkpatrick takes the stand. He is the man who did the swabbing and spraying in each of these 3 incidents. We admit into evidence a photo that is a blow-up still frame of the police video that shows our sister Bonka's eyeball being swabbed directly. Her eye is open and the Q-tip is against the eyeball. From the stand, all of us plaintiffs and everybody in the courtroom and the trees who are listening had to hear Deputy Kirkpatrick say from the stand that the pupil was shadow of the Q-tip and the white of the eye was glare. Sheriff Lewis used to work for PL. These people have dinner together at night. In August of 1997, Charles Hurwitz came to this county, and in a meeting at the Scotia Inn in the company town, Pacific Lumber, Sheriff Lewis, Chief Arnie Millsap at the Eureka Police Department, and Charles Hurwitz talked. None of us know what went on there, but I think we can guess, and that's why we are on the front lines, that's why we're in the trees, and that's why we remember Gypsy Chain.
All of us are here because of brutality and violence. Everyone who's been here, everyone who's been backwoods, has probably experienced that in some form or another. A year ago tomorrow was Scotia. October 3rd last year was Bear Creek. October 16th was Riggs. All of us were brutalized in those incidents. We were tortured by Humboldt County law enforcement, hiding behind their badges, hiding their humanity behind their badges. Whether it's a cop with his paint compliance or pepper spray, or a logger with his chainsaw, they hide behind their humanity, and they don't see us as human beings. They don't care about us. They think they can call us earth firsters, hippies, activists, radicals. They marginalize us so they don't have to feel what we're feeling. They can shield themselves behind this so that they do the work that they do, which is brutalizing us and tearing down this forest. On the stand, an officer said, when he saw us, he didn't think we were in pain. We were just a bit uncomfortable. This is the mentality that they use. They won't see us as human beings, and they want us out of that forest. They'll do anything to get us out of that forest, using all that violence against us. But that only makes us stronger in our nonviolence. We deadlocked in this trial. It was a mistrial, 4-4, and we'll go to trial again. And we're not going to give up until we see justice served through this legal system. We'll take it through mistrial, through mistrial, through mistrial. With all their pepper spray, we will not give up. With all the batons, we will not give up. Through all their pain compliance, we will not give up. With all their chainsaws, which cut down tree after tree after tree, we will not give up. And we go stronger. We go stronger by belief, because belief is action. Love is action. Honor is action, and that's why we act. We act for Gypsy Chain. We act for the trees. We act for everyone who's been brutalized by power. We'll be in the courtroom seeing this trial through, and we'll be at Grizzly Creek blocking that road so that no one will go in there and tear down that forest anymore. And that's why we're all here, and that's why we need to stay here.
And now Tofu is going to come up, and we're going to sing a song called Private Property. And when singing this song, I want people to remember that on top of the Sheriff's Department, CDF, and these regulatory agencies and these biased police forces being the culprit, the main culprit is Maxam, and I know none of us are forgetting that. This is a corporation, like any other corporation in the United States, being fueled by money and power. Capitalism is death. And we need to remember Maxam needs to be booted out of this county. And I please urge people to remember that we can revoke Maxim's charter if we rise up, no matter what anybody in official status tells us, okay? The Diggers took back the land in England, you know, the civil rights movement made changes, and we are here today, and we need to remember corporations are not people. Stand up for people. Stand up for the earth.
The song's about private property. Out in the forest, there's no place left to hide.
From road building and clear cuts, napalm and herbicide. The watersheds are tumbling,
And still they grow some trees, all in the name of private property. Water is not property. And so we enter, pray in a circle, and the stump is in the center. We're here to stop the destruction in the forest. We understand that we face violent consequences. Out in the forest and in the city streets, people behind badges have guns to keep the peace. Serve and protect us is what they're supposed to be, but the violence that they serve protects private property. And those who have the money, and proud they stand, their weapons given them by those who own the land, landlords and masters. And when we cross the line, police no longer serve us if we do not move in time. So say the government's the place to make your claim, sworn to represent us in democracy's name. What happens when they're bought out by those they oversee? Bought out by the profits made on corporate property, which is not private property. So we enter, locked in a circle and the step is in the center. We're here to stop the destruction in the forest. Not violent warriors face violent consequences. Oh, police said release, and you have 10 seconds. And if you don't, then you're gonna learn a lesson. The officer held her head between his knees and pepper sprayed her in the name of peace on private property. And she is strong. She tells him calmly that you live and this is wrong. And so he offers some water for her eyes. She cannot trust him because his badge is just a lie. So we honor the brave who came before, those who brought the forest boys to the corporate door. And we remember that police brutality is just another consequence of private property. Police brutality is just another consequence of private property. All this brutality is just another consequence of corporate property. Police brutality is sworn to protect private property.
In memory of Gypsy, I heard in my head Judy's voice, Judi Bari's voice from a tape that she made just days after she was bombed in Oakland. And what she said, her first statement to us after the bombing was that the violence is occurring back in the forest and that we must stand up. The only way to stand up to this kind of lethal force is with mass, public, non-violence. And that's why we called everyone here today, because it's really important for us to come together and stand up at the places that they think are where their authority lies, at their seat of power, and stand up together and try to put an end to the violence and to try to de-escalate things together. And I really encourage you to go out to the Free State, because it's the most beautiful blockade I've ever seen. In the very center of the Free State is an altar to Gypsy. And then on up the road and all the way up to that logging site and that crime scene, people have dug in their heels and are taking a stand, locked down by the dozens out there. So Our safety is really in our collectivism and in our mass nonviolence. So we need every person, if you could just come out for an hour, please come out to Grizzly Creek. Also, I want to thank all of the people from all of the different organizations who are coming here today to speak, because if we're just Earth First, if we don't have the support of all of the people who think that forests should be defended and think that the ancient forest should have the right to live for its own sake, then we're just an isolated fringe group. And it's thanks to all of the people in all of our communities coming out here and standing up together and making sure that we don't get marginalized and that we don't get massacred and that we don't get killed, that our death and that our activism and that our courage is not just happening in a vacuum, just, something that nobody really cares about. It's all of you who come out and support us and stand up with us.
All day we've been hearing about what happens when loggers meet environmentalists in the woods. We've been hearing about assaults against environmentalists. I'll tell you what you have not heard. You have not heard of one logger ever being arrested. Never. There have been over 2,000 environmentalists arrested. There have been hundreds of those arrests were made in the woods. But you have not heard of one logger being arrested for attacking an environmentalist. That is not the rule of law. What should have happened out there on that THP in Grizzly Creek, when those loggers realized that there were activists on the site, they should have set those chainsaws down, they should have turned them off, and they should have called the sheriff. They should have said, "Sheriff, it's not safe for us to work here. Please come out and handle this trespass situation." The sheriff should have come out and politely arrested the trespassers, who then would have gone to court. They would have explained why they were there. PL would have explained why it thought they shouldn't have been there, and the judge would have decided what happened. The judge would have decided the consequences, not somebody with a chainsaw dropping trees. The sheriff thinks it's all right to hurt people if he's in a hurry. That is not okay. If we're going to have a rule of law in this county, then when they come in and there's a sit-in or a lockdown or something, they can wait those people out. They can wait until that protest is over and take them to court. And they can say, "Judge, they sat in Frank Rigg's office for 4 hours. It was really boring. And I want you to deal with them." And the judge can then do what's appropriate to someone who's willing to sit in Frank Rigg's office for 4 hours, if that's not punishment enough. But what's not okay is to come in there and have an officer pry somebody's eyes open so another officer can spray pepper spray in it. That is not the rule of law, that is not justice, and it is not okay. Can you hear it? Not okay? Now, I want to talk about the people who are supposed to be regulating the logging, protecting the forest, protecting the endangered species. When they come out to a logging site and they find out that PL has come in there during the protected season for the marbled murrelet and damaged the habitat of the marbled murrelet in violation of the laws of the country and the state, it is not okay for the CDF to say this is a technical violation. They should have sent us a note saying they were going to violate the Endangered Species Act, and it would have been okay. That is not okay.
Not okay.
I'll tell you what might be okay. The CDF comes to PL and says, "You have violated the law one too many times. We are taking your license to log away." That's okay. Until the people who are supposed to enforce the laws are willing to do it, they are going to have to be people like Earth First activists and environmentalists out there enforcing the laws instead. I would prefer that our system of law worked. I would prefer that the regulators did their job, that the police did their job, that the loggers did their job, that we didn't have all this violence, that we didn't have people turning a blind eye to the destruction of the environment and the death of these species. Now, here's something that I think might be really okay. I don't know about you, but I'm not so happy about the sheriff investigating Gypsy's death. I don't have a lot of faith in the sheriff at this point. You know, they just spent $150,000 going down to federal court so that they could tell the judge that it was okay for them to put pepper spray in the eyes of people who were not resisting and not violent. I said that's not okay. I think I would like to have all of this investigation be public. I think I would like to know what's going on so I could judge for myself what kind of job these people are doing. There is a way to do that. It's long established in our law. It's called a coroner's inquest. The coroner of this county can impanel a jury to have public sessions like a trial. Everyone comes and testifies. The logger comes and says, I cut the tree because of this. The activists say, we were there and we did that. It's all out there in public. We can all see and understand what's happening. Then the coroner makes up his mind what happened. We make up our minds what happened. This could be done if the coroner said he wanted to do it. This must be done if the district attorney says, I want you to do it. So that we have two chances for this to happen. Kay Brown, Kay, where are you? Wave your arms. She has a petition to get a coroner's inquest into the death of David Gypsy Chain. She'll be walking around with it, and I hope that you will sign it so that we can have open getting towards the rule of law. That would be okay. Is that okay?
That's okay.
Alex. Oh, sorry.
Sure. Hi.
I see how it is.
You have a beautiful.
Welcome to the It's a Wonderful World Living Room Lockdown.
Oh, that's great. You locked down.
This is the Gypsy Free State. And this is the It's a Wonderful World Living Room Lockdown. As you can see, there's a room for 6 of us to be locked down here. There's going to be one on either end with a U-lock to the guardrail and all the other people in the middle in case for when the police come.
So, how long have you been locked down?
Well, we've been in position to be locked down here potentially for 4 days. This action's been going on for 7, and on this past Monday, well, Sunday night into Monday, we prepared for the potentiality that the police might raid us and try and break this up. And we've been locked down here and at other positions on this road and other roads to attempt to preserve the crime scene, what we believe is the murder of David Gypsy Chain, up on top of this ridge overlooking the Grizzly Creek State Park. And because we don't believe that the Humboldt County Sheriffs can conduct an independent, unbiased investigation, and we're asking that this crime scene be preserved until an independent investigator can come in. Pacific Lumber, even though they issued a statement saying that they weren't going to log until the investigation was over, came back in this past Friday and inevitably destroyed the crime scene and taken away any evidence there might have been of criminal activity taking place up there. And of course that there is the potentiality of violations of the Forest Practices Act going on up there. In fact, California Fish and Game has said that there are violations of Forest Practices Act that have taken place up here. And what David Gypsy Chain was doing when he died was to try to tell the fallers about those violations and request that they stop logging for the day until an investigator could come out from the CDF. And I myself actually talked to the CDF the day before, and they assured me that someone would be here the day that David died to do the investigation, and there was not.